Good morning. This is Teresa Nikas, and I'll be your host for today's Quiet Echo. I want to talk about a test, not the kind you take in school, the kind an institution takes when someone in power looks at it and says, "Do we still need this?" Last year, the federal government proposed eliminating the Institute of Museum and Library Services, IMLs, the only federal agency dedicated to funding libraries, all 125,000 of them public, school, academic, special. The proposal was part of a broader effort to cut agencies the administration considered unnecessary at the federal level. The reasoning was not complicated. If a program is essential, the states and the people will defend it. If it is not, it should not survive on inertia alone. That is a fair question. I say this as someone who runs an institution and newspaper, and who understands what it means to justify your existence every single day. So, the test began. 21 state attorneys general sued. The American Library Association filed its own lawsuit. A federal court blocked the executive order. Congress, on a bipartisan basis, rejected the proposed cuts and preserved funding. In December, all terminated grants were reinstated. The libraries survived. Now here is what I want you to hear. Not who proposed the cut, not which side won. What the process revealed. The system did what the system is designed to do. The executive branch proposed. The legislative branch disposed. The courts weighed in. The people who depend on libraries made their case, and the case held. IMLS survived, not because nobody challenged it. It survived because when challenged, enough people stood up and said, "We need this." The pressure revealed the value. There is something honest about the process, even when it is frightening to watch. Every institution in this country exists because someone once decided it was necessary. But necessary in 1996 is not automatically necessary in 2026. The only way to know what still matters is to ask. And sometimes asking looks like proposing the cut and seeing who shows up to say no. Americans showed up. Libraries receive more than 1.3 billion visits a year, more than the combined attendance of every major professional sports league. The return is roughly $5 in services for every tax dollar spent. In rural communities, the library is often the last public building offering free internet access, job search help, early literacy programs, and materials for people with disabilities. These facts existed before the proposal, but the proposal forced them into the open. The pressure made the case in a way years of quiet funding never could, and Cedar Valley showed up too. I want to tell you what happened in this town when the proposal was announced because it tells you everything about who we are. Helen Marsh, our librarian, wrote to our congressional delegation the same week. She did not wait for instructions from the state library. She did not form a committee. She sat down at her desk and wrote the letter because she understood the building she opens every morning was on the line. Lars Olson put a sign-up sheet on the counter at the hardware store. 47 signatures in 4 days. Everybody who walks into the store walks past the counter. Lars knew it. He did not ask permission. He taped a piece of paper to the counter and set a pen beside it. The elementary school PTA passed a resolution asking the school board what happens to the summer reading program if federal funding disappears. They asked the question before the answer arrived, which is how you keep the answer from being too late. Dan Larson mentioned it from the pulpit, not as politics, as stewardship. He said the library is the same kind of responsibility as the food bank and the volunteer fire department, a thing the community holds in trust for the people who need it most. George Kahn printed the library's hours on the back of every repair invoice for a month. Quiet, practical. George, nobody organized a campaign. Nobody called a meeting. Nobody waited for somebody else to go first. People just did what Cedar Valley people do. They showed up before anyone told them to. To be fair, the fight is not over. The 2027 budget cycle begins now. The administration is expected to propose the same cuts. The American Library Association launched its annual campaign last week. The deadline for congressional signatures is March 20th, 4 days from now. The process will repeat, and every year it repeats. The libraries will have to answer the same question: are you still necessary? The answer must be earned, not assumed. The institutions worth keeping are the ones willing to be tested. The ones afraid of the question are usually the ones the answer has already moved past. Libraries made the case. They are still here. And Cedar Valley is part of the reason. Our library is small. The carpet needs replacing. The hours are not what they used to be. But the lights are on. And as long as the lights are on, somebody in this town has a place to go where the information is free. And nobody asks why you need it. Keep the lights on. Not because nobody asked, because somebody did. And this town answered yes. This is Teresa Nikas, your host for today's Quiet Echo. Thanks for listening. Quiet Echo is part of the fictional Cedar Valley News series, written by Evan Swenson, publisher, publication consultants, and Claude Marshall, AI developmental editor. While the people in town are fictional, the national events they reflect on are real. The front porch is open. Readers of the Cedar Valley News are gathering on Facebook to respond to the editorials, share their own stories, and join a conversation built on respect, honesty, and no party lines. Come sit with us. I will put the link in the show notes.
You've been listening to the Cedar Valley News Podcast, where small-town voices meet the headlines shaping our world. From faith and family to front porches and fields. We'll be back with more stories connecting real lives to real events. Until next time, keep your porch light on, your faith strong, and your heart open.